Hey Sharon.
Rick.
So just looking over at realtor.ca, you can see like all these homes that are listed for sale. I remember, you would see lots of newspaper articles back when interest rates were before they started going up as quickly as they have lately. You would see lots of stories about, someone would list a house and it would go for, half a million over asking. Uh, I haven't seen any articles like that lately. Is it just has the market changed? Are those listings not there anymore?
Well, the listings, interestingly, on MLS are still just as varied. They're just not as intense. So you're not going to list at 600,000 and sell at 1 million. But there is some bidding prices still happening. So some will list. It comes down to the motive for the listing in the first place, the reason they need to sell, how quick they need to sell, if they're in the home, if the home is owner occupied or if it's vacant, if they've bought another property. As a buyer, we won't necessarily always know those things, but there's still a lot of indicators on the market that tell us, that will give us an indication if there's been a lot of price drops, for example. We know that they have an urgency. So for the buyer, the benefit will be to go in and buy it to place of an offer, but meet the closing date that they need, which is probably going to be a relatively short one at this point because they need to make things happen.
Sure.
And so if we can work with the seller to accommodate those things, then you can pick up that home and probably at an even lesser price still, just to help them meet their closing date and to get the stuff all done. But there is, if someone can list a house and you'll see, and they want the quickest offer, then they'll give a baseline price. So it's not so much the bidding like you knew, a year or 2 years ago, but it is a bidding process in that they're taking the offers all on one night and they will sell it. It will sell over that list price. It could be 50,000, it could be 30,000, it could be 80,000, but that's kind of what you're looking at. You're not looking at crazy amounts. You're looking at someone who needs to get it sold fast. They've scaled it back a bit at a base price and to see where they can, the best offer they can get. So, and when people look at it and see price change, they think that means that it means a price drop. It could be a price drop. I can tell as an agent when I look at it. But in the public, they wouldn't. Well, there are places now they can search and see it, but just right off the bat, you wouldn't know right away. It could be a case they listed for bidding and no one wanted to bid. So sometimes when there is a bidding night, you might get 2 offers, you might get 4 offers, you might get 1, you might get nothing. Someone might come the next day with an offer. 2 people can come next day with the offer because they didn't want to bid on that night, because they don't want to touch it. But it is still out there. It is still happening. So that price change, if they didn't get any bids, they can put the price up to change the price, and it's higher than it was yesterday because it's now listed at market price instead of a bid price.
I see.
Then there's a house that's been on the market a lot, and it could have been sitting there for 60 days, and they'll drop the price, but it's not listing for a sale price. They're dropping it to do a bid that weekend to see if they can get somewhere with it.
Right.
So the prices are not all as they seem still. So talk to an agent who understands what's happening in that micro market that you're looking at, and in those listings in that neighborhood that you're looking at, on the street that you're looking at. So very micro down, and make sure your agent understands what these numbers are and what the value of a house is. There's nothing worse than looking at a house that's $799, going to the listing agent saying, well, I want to bring you an offer for $750. And in the meantime, the house is worth $900,000.
Sure.
Because it just aggravates your buyer, gets them disappointed, aggravates the seller, and an agent's looking at it saying, well, that's what is listed at. We don't know. And it's like, no, you got to know. Make sure your agent knows your market price. Because why take you to something like that is out of your budget when I can go look at one that's maybe listed for $850 that they truly want to sell, and we might get that one down to $799 for you.
And you could miss out on that one because you're looking at the house that's really worth $900,000 that you can't afford.
and you can't afford it, right? So and you're looking at the other one saying, no, it's priced on my market. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe they're ready. So that's where you get your agent to do their job and to look at the listings, to talk with the agents, to find out, to investigate, to go back into the history of the listings and the property, read all the changes that have been made, find out what story. Every listing tells a story. So what story is this listing telling, and how can I use it to my benefit as a buyer? Right? And your agent should be able to do that for you. Make sure they can. So because it's there, the information is there, the knowledge is there, and you need that working for you. So don't just look at a listing as a listing. Make sure you're working with an agent. Make sure they know what you need. And again, where I come from, I take your budget and I will go backwards. I'll work from there. Okay,
Right.
so your budget's a priority. This is what you can afford. This is what you're pre-approved for. Then that I will only give you properties. I will only send you properties that, whether they're bidding or non-bidding, or whether they're priced above your place, I believe all of these properties will come in within your approved budget.
Right, because just because a property is listed at 600,000 doesn't mean the seller has to accept a $600,000 bid, even if it's no conditions, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You can come in. Someone can have it listed at $699, and they don't even say that is off. It's a bid. I have seen it where they list at $699, and they're like, bring your offer, and they say, yeah, well, we want like not less than $720, but you're not even doing bidding. No, well, the seller's not taking anything less than $720,
Right.
and that still happens. Not as much, but that's where it comes up down to the agent to know, have the conversations that we need to be having. This is what I do day in, day out, all the time. Right. So
you can also look at the other properties, what they've sold for, right? So
exactly.
that you can,
Exactly. Look at the history. And with the interest rates going down, what sold last month, what sold last week, what sold yesterday, and get your information, really get it in micro format, get it for that street, get it for this week, get it as close as you can get it. And make sure the properties obviously are comparable, but yeah. So listings, and it's still not always as they seem, but get your agent to do the work for you and advise you. If they can't advise you, then find someone who can. Right? Make sure you're getting the best advice and the right advice. Don't settle. This is too important. It's the biggest investment you're ever making. Don't mess around with it. Don't take it lightly. And we gladly help them with that. We have the knowledge. We gladly. Anyone has questions? Once I have an initial meeting with my clients and we have a good understanding of what they're looking for, that's the kind of service that is standard for us, right?
Sounds good. So it's who you work with is super important, obviously.
Yes, yeah, it makes a big difference. Saves you frustration. Also helps you to get a house that maybe someone else didn't know. If they don't know the value of a home that they're showing you, they won't know how to negotiate one that could be negotiated down.
Makes sense.
Right? So you need to know your numbers. You need someone who knows their numbers, and that's what they should be doing day in, day out, and they should be able to advise you of that. So do talk to us about your MLS listings. Any questions? I welcome my clients call me. I have access to every listing out there, and I'd be glad to tell you, save you the time. I don't want you to go out and see a house that's beyond your means. Let's have these conversations face to face, whether it's over Zoom, and let's do it, and let's see which ones we really want to take you out to see. This should make sure it makes sense for you.
Sounds good, Sharon. Thanks.
You're welcome there. Have an awesome afternoon.
You too. Bye.